We had a giggle from the production. Good.
So not only do we get lead deflection where the shaft bends forward and potentially adds loft through impact, the toe actually droops down. And the longer the shaft, the more droop you get. Happy with that one, guys?
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Kickpoint, the Golf Gear Show. Thank you for joining us once again. We do really appreciate your company. My name's Dan, and as always, joined by Joe Ferguson, Joe the Pro, who's having a little scroll around his laptop
Breaking
like you're
news.
not even here. We've got breaking news.
Breaking news, Dan. Yeah, as we're recording this, I had a little press release through.
We don't normally
Odyssey.
get these in time. Can I just go through the episode first?
Oh, go on.
Just because otherwise I'm out of order then and I'll freak out.
Fine.
Coming up this week, Joe's got some Avoda irons to talk about because Jason Day's in them. We got Lie Angle Chat, which Joe's promise is really exciting, guys, so stick around for that. And genuinely the reason why people are here.
Yeah.
And why we get out of bed every morning.
Yeah.
Is to interview people like Robert Rock, who's coming on the podcast to do What's in the Bag. So that's all coming up this week. But we do have breaking news, Joe. Callaway, Odyssey have just dropped something, and the embargo's lined up when this episode comes out. It just dropped. Now, it's all falling into place. It better be blooming interesting.
Well, it is. Odyssey Square to Square. So obviously they got into the Zero Talk game. I think it's fair to say as a reaction to Lab's success, and they did really well. So a lot of the initial Square to Square stuff sold really well, I think. There's a couple of things I didn't love about it, one of which was the not excessive forward shaft lean, but there was a fair amount of forward shaft lean, and they didn't have the off-centre grip to counteract that, which I felt put my hands in a slightly strange position. But some people have absolutely loved that, sort of enforcing them into a forward press. But it looks, from what I'm scouring as we speak,
and we can bring up on screen now if you're watching,
that might have been addressed. We've got some square-to-square tri-hot putters in a very interesting red and black ensemble.
I'd call it Xander Red.
Truth be told, as I've said on many times on the pod, red's not my thing on golf clubs, so that takes some getting used to for me. But the shapes look brilliant. So we've got what have we got? We've got our Sevens, we've got Jailbird, we've got Rossi. There's a few things.
And what's different about these?
Here.
Why should I be excited about this?
So it's go on. We're moving Zero Talk forward by
Don't read a press release out. Okay, it's not what we're here to do.
Let me pick the best bits then. Okay.
Joe is literally reading his email for the first time right now.
So they've moved the CG of these putters far enough forward to get the shaft entering the head on the top line rather than way back on the head. So because of that, that's removed the need for the shaft lean.
Good.
Eliminating one of the biggest barriers to entry for this style of putter.
Hey, that's a very... You just made that point.
That was from the press release, that particular sentence.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So that's a more natural, sort of neutral setup position, which I think will be really beneficial when you've got the number one putter brand in golf, moving on that technology that I love, that Zero Talk stuff, in there. Most famous shapes without one of the nuances that I didn't like about it before. I think this is a really big step for them.
We're in a really interesting period with Zero Talk in that it's so fresh and so new that brands like this are going to be bringing out semi-regularly, I think, new putters that just tweak these things, that the feedback they get from people like us and people like you listening and watching when they read all the comments, which I know they do, by the way, just to iron out some of the issues and get this stuff done. So that's quite exciting.
What do you make of the look?
So I'll bring this one up now. That's the Jailbird. They've got that versus sort of red, black. It was blue, white. I don't love too much for me, and I also don't like red on putters. Love that shape.
The Rossi looks brilliant.
And
really
seeing where that shaft enters the head that closely, I think that could be really, really quite popular.
I'd be a number 7 man here. I wonder if it's an interesting, I say interesting, we'll find out in a minute, as it comes out of my mouth. When we were going to do a deep dive into Nike, weren't we, at one point? And I think
we still will.
I remember sort of observing Nike as a swoosh ambassador, as you remember. And every time, when they released the driver in black, it did really well. When they released the driver in the bright red, it struggled a bit at sales. And then they did it in that sort of neon electric blue colour. Again, seems to struggle. It seems to be this is just at retail that I noticed at Celtic Manor, and I think was reflected nationwide. So it's...
Do you know why I think that is?
Go on.
Football.
I think so. I
really think that, whatever side of the pond you're on, whatever part of the country you listen to us, if you're a sport fan, you've got a sport team, blue and red are quite common. It's often blue versus red.
Yeah.
You either like blue or you either like red. Take sport out of it. I don't think anyone loves blue and red. You've got a side you're on there, what side of this colour spectrum you're on. Where are we going with this? Anyway,
I think there could be elements of that. I'm just talking about, because the first thing I noticed when you see these, and you'll have seen it
It's
now,
bold to suddenly go
it
red.
is bold. And I think that'll be a Marmite thing. I think some people can absolutely love that. But yeah, I wonder whether they'll decide to offer it in any other colourways. Be interesting to see.
Speaking of spectrums, I had my first dalliance with a zero torque putter, Joe.
Okay.
Actually, on a golf course, on a green. When I was out at PHG, I got my hands and fitted for the new Mustang ZT, as you folks over there will call it. And I experienced the phenomenon. I experienced the reverse honeymoon period where I couldn't effing putt. Bulletproof,
Yeah.
8 feet and in, on some really quick greens, like 11, when I'm Royal Fulford's fluffy things are struggling at the minute. From distance, I hated it. So I'm going to persist, even though I've got a sausage to play with now, sausage putter. Keep up, guys. I'm going to persist because I want to see if this reverse honeymoon period is a thing.
I think it is. Yeah, I mean, obviously I do. I'm a big
You work
Support.
for Big Zero Talk.
Yeah.
You're in on the big conglomerate that's pushing this to us. I'm going to keep him checked and balanced, folks, because I think it was rubbish.
But you'll be a great case sample because I know you're totally objective, and you've seen the bit to start.
I try my hardest.
You've seen the bit to start with where, and what we're talking about this reverse honeymoon is when you've come from a putter that's had a bit of toe hang. You can feel a bit of movement in the putter face. It'll give you a bit of awareness of where that head is in time and space. What zero torque does, in my opinion, is when you remove that torque force, you can lose a bit of awareness is where that
No idea
putter
what
is
was
in
going
time
on.
and space.
It was horrible.
But you've just got to get to the point where you trust that you don't need to manipulate it or refine it with your hands, and you just let it swing and do its thing, knowing that putter. Let it swing and do its thing. There you go.
Our t-shirt range is going to be wild. Check the loft.
Yeah, note that down, Rick.
Write that down.
Write that down.
And write that down. What was it? What did you say? I forgot what you just said.
Can't remember.
Sugar.
Let it swing and do its thing. What was it?
Roll the tape. Anyway,
Something like that. But yeah,
So
once you understand that club face is gonna do its thing and stay square.
that doesn't rhyme.
No, that's really bad. Yeah, don't do that one. But yeah,
So I've just got to get used to it.
It's a genuine phenomenon of not needing to know and feel where that club face is and just developing some trust. One thing I did, let me bring this one up actually. This blew my mind the other day. I listened to a podcast on the way down, not ours.
In your new car.
In my new car. So I didn't have to lean in and listen to it on my phone.
Joe's old car had no radio.
Didn't have a radio. So this was like a real luxury pod, and I'm learning all sorts of things now. Now I can hear it. I'm learning all sorts. This was on No Laying Up. It was Dr. Sasho McKenzie, guy who does
Macca.
Macca. And it was a really in-depth. He's I can't tell you what he is, but he's a very smart man, and he's done some significant research into putting, and he thinks a couple of things. Putting wise, the most important elements of putting we always think are you've got to get your path nice and square, right, and you've got to centre that strike, etc. The research he's done, where you sort of move the impact location by even a centimetre either side of centre, you see such minimal changes in direction and pace, like seriously minimal, like to the point where even over, if you move it a centimetre, even over most 18-foot putts or something like that, it will still go in, like not just get close. And similarly, you might lose 1% in pace, 1 centimetre off centre. So that was kind of disproving the need or how important it is to centre a putter shaft. Similarly with path, you could move this path around 5 degrees out to in to out, but so long as the face was still matching up with where you want it to go, again, you're still likely to hold those putts. But so many of us spend so much time like putting between the tees to centre that strike, working on putting mirrors to make sure your path and gate drills and all that kind of stuff is crucial. And his research is showing, it's not like this isn't an opinion. He's like, he can back this up with his own receipts. They're the two least relevant points. And one of the biggest points is pace control, which no one really practices, is getting the pace right and understanding the correlation between... you should really just listen to it because I'm doing such a bad job of rehashing.
What episode was it?
But it's on No Laying Up, and it just says Dr. Sasha McKenzie's putting special. But think about it, like the top pros are all going, right, 60 yards. Okay, that's my 60-degree wedge, shoulders to arms, hands to shoulder rather, and the same the other side. And that's you've got a frame of reference for what 60 yards is.
We're not doing that with putters.
Yeah, you don't pace, like, there's a few people that do. Bryson's a big pacer off, and he measures a length of backswing to different ratios, etc. This guy is suggesting you can learn to control your club head speed and put a number to it to develop an understanding of
Absolutely.
3 miles per hour, whatever
Absolutely.
it might be, will produce this. And that's the next step in putting. And furthermore, everyone he's tested, almost without fail, if you look at the hole when you're putting from any range, because he's disproven the need to hit it that much out of the centre of the club, if you're looking at the hole rather than the ball, everyone's pace control goes through the roof and their putting gets significantly better, is what he's suggesting. Like, think about it. Snooker, you're not looking at the, well, you probably do because you're terrible at pool and snooker. You're not really looking at where that tip's going to strike the cue ball. You're looking at the object ball, you're looking at the pocket.
That's what I'm
Free
getting wrong.
throws, you're not looking at the basketball and thinking, I'm going to follow my arms here and follow the path of this, and you're looking at the target.
Yeah.
So many of these things, when you archery, whatever,
I'm always at the old archery.
famously you're
Always at the old
aren't you?
archery
Robin Hood,
course.
they call you, don't they? But when you're looking and you're sending those visual messages to your brain because you're seeing what you're trying to hear, that's so much more powerful for
convincing.
feel. And I've had it not numerous occasions, and I thought it was just me getting old, where sort of looking at the hole, trying to take these pictures in your mind of where it is, and you sort of get back to the ball,
Dizzy.
not dizzy, but thinking, wow, how hard do I hit this again? Because you've then got to,
Whereas if you're constantly looking at it,
you're just getting
your
the message.
brains can see the distance it's trying to cover.
100%, yeah, and that's
Even
that's
for long,
something-
even for long putts, because Spieth did it for a while from inside. I don't know what he was doing at 15 feet.
Yes,
Would he recommend it for 60 footers?
I think it was exclusively. I didn't really get to the end of the podcast because I thought it was rushing here, and I didn't
Crash
realize you
the car.
were so late. But yeah, I think it was talking about all putts. It's something I'm certainly going to look
Fine.
into because it makes perfect sense to me. If you can, it takes a lot of pressure off. If you stop being so desperate to get your putter path online, oh dear, I took that one outside, or I took it inside. Like, it just doesn't matter, allegedly.
Try this.
So if you're not even looking at the stroke, you can get that out of your head and not worry about how that looks. And if you're just focusing purely on target with your eyes, you're constantly getting that message. You're not trying to have to look and remember where the hole was. You're looking at it. I like that.
I like that a lot.
Tangent,
I'm going to
sorry.
try it. No, a little bit, but I think to round it back in to this Odyssey news and
Yeah.
the PXG Mustang, I want to try that. I want to see if I can get out of this honeymoon period and get actually into the honeymoon.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you're on a honeymoon, she's got a stomach bug. It's like we can't enjoy ourselves yet.
Yeah,
And,
true.
and you know, is that analogy working for you?
Kind of, yeah.
But I think Zero Talk Putters doing a good job. The Mustang ZT especially, and by the looks of it, these just from the renders we've seen, of not looking too daft anymore. Like
Yeah.
the Mustang, I say, wouldn't be an obvious Zero Talk to people from afar, even behind the ball it is. And so, same with them. Right, Joe, none of that was on the planning document, and
Okay.
none of that was part of the show.
Gonna be a long ep then, is it?
Gonna be a long one, boys and girls. Settle in. But it does mean maybe we should stop planning.
Yeah, I think so.
We can just riff.
Yeah,
but then what would we do now? Because I'm going on to the bit we've planned.
I'll just make something else up.
Do you want me to talk about indoor golf, Joe?
Yeah, go on, please do.
Funny that, because it's still raining here. It was raining at the end of last week, and it's still raining here in Winner's Triangle. A week's worth of rain, constantly. Flooded. Indoor golf in the UK, and whenever I have a moan or a rant, or we have a moan or a rant, and we get comments, I think we should follow up on that. So that's what I'm going to do with this. Remember we spoke about indoor golf, and we spoke about how there are indoor golf venues.
Well, hang on. There's plenty of venues.
We haven't invented anything here.
No, and I sort of called you up on that, but
You
you
did.
made a valid point of you're not saying we just need indoor places to hit golf balls because we've got that, but you want a place that feels like your golf club. You want a place that feels like I can go and play a medal. I can play with the same people every week. I can turn up and so-and-so is going to be at the bar and
Exactly.
Sharon's serving my cheese toasty and,
Yeah,
and
we're
whatever
selling,
else.
we're selling raffle tickets.
Yeah.
It smells a bit of sort of old people.
Yeah.
If we can get that in, it's
Love
great.
the smell of old
Love the
people.
smell of old people. It reminds me of home. So what I'm going to do, we put a clip of that out on social media and actually got loads of great responses. So I want to give shout outs to all the places
Go on.
that offer this, that exist. These are only UK at the minute. If you're out in the US, Australia, Canada, wherever you listen to us and this exists, let us know so I can shout you out. So T Club UK, Salford Keys, Manchester, Inner Drive Golf, London, Go Golf, Darwin, Lancashire, Par Society, Portsmouth, the Golf Bar Glasgow, 5 Under Golf Basingstoke, and the Golf Rooms London are just a few of the examples of these places that got in touch with us on this social clip to say, hey, we're trying to do this, we're trying to build this. So if that resonated with you when we spoke about it,
Someone offered
I'm not
us-
scrolling on my phone just on Instagram. I'm just going to come up with some more things.
Someone offered us, suggested we franchise one with them. They're talking big into
yeah.
5-iron golf. He was talking about in the States, which I've not been.
There's one in Detroit I've seen that's supposed to be really, really good.
Randomly, a friend of mine, Andrew, was leaving me a voice note. He's out in the States, and he was just, me and my son are off to going to go and play a few holes. So I don't know whether it's specifically in correlation with weather, because he lives in a very sunny part of the United States, but just really enjoyed the simulator vibe of it, the music, the drinks.
And I think when the weather is like it is now, we need places like this. So thanks for getting in touch on that clip. Less thanks to Craig Lawless. No, indoor golf is
Right.
Craig, let's have a bit of friendliness here.
He is. He's absolutely lawless, isn't he?
Or Danseer49, just get out. Danseer49, just get out and play, you big fanny. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, guys.
It's raining. So if there are any more indoor venues like that, I like comments online. They're all funny. Any more places like that, I want you to shout out those. Thanks for getting in touch. And let's create these communities for golf in the winter.
Is your favourite bit of correspondence we've ever had still Cliff Richard has a vineyard in Portugal?
Out of context.
Yeah.
Imagine when we set this whole thing up that we get a comment that says nothing about equipment, that just says Cliff Richard has a vineyard.
Come on then.
You were on YouTube, Joe, as
Yes.
you often are, and because you're a little gear perv like we all are, watching Grant Horvat and Jason Day play together, you weren't watching any of the golf. You were seeing what was dangling around in Jason Day's bag outside of the buggy, and what's the breaking news with Jason Day's irons?
So J-Day is in some...
Oh, you're kidding
That's
me.
never happened.
It should be on silent, man.
It is now. They won't even pick that up.
Right. For the sake
should
of
be a fine there,
for the sake of
shouldn't
the
there?
social clip, because we're probably going to want to cut this. What's the breaking news with Jason Day's irons, Joe?
Well, Dan, funny you should say that. He's been spotted by probably several 100,000 people now, actually, from the amount of people that watch those videos. He's in some Avoda irons. And he's been an equipment free agent for a bit, and he's been going down a few little rabbit holes. I've seen all sorts of different gear in his bag, in every element, except for putter, where he seems to still be in his itsy bitsy spiders most of the time, which is great. He seems to dive between the black and the red one. But yeah, so spotted some Avodas in there and just started to think, what have we got going on here? So I got on the blower to Tom Bailey, who owns Avoda.
Was that him there?
Do you want me to check?
It was on no number, I saw.
Okay, sorry about that. I thought we were cutting that bit. No, he's leaving it
Not
in.
now, because continuity all over the place.
Okay, well, we'll leave that in. And yeah, so Tom was saying basically he's been toying around with a few things, going down those rabbit holes, and his coach contacted Tom. So I don't know whether he'd seen Bryson's stuff and was curious about that, but he wanted to try the curved face stuff. So they went out and met him, tried a few bits, took some samples along, and Tom was saying he watched him hit some shots, which just unbelievable. They said he had him on a downslope out of rough over a tree into wind from 200 yards with a 5-iron, hit 5 shots in a row within 10 feet, and basically sort of turned around and said, don't think I want to play flat-faced irons before. And of course, Tom's got a bit of skin in the game here, so that is what he would say. But the videos I've been watching, his iron play's been really, really good. So what they did is they left him with kind of a temporary set. They built him up a set of the curved-faced irons of basically the retail head models that they've got in the closest specs they could get. So look, play with these for a couple of weeks, see how you get on, and then if you do like what you're seeing, then we'll get into the custom side of things. So they've just built him a fully custom set. So they changed a few little bits and bobs today's specifications. They've ground the sole differently. They've changed a few of the head shapes. So he's basically got almost a mini set of Brysons. They're a variation of the retail version of the Origin curve-faced irons, but with a few of those Jason Day specifications going on. And yeah, I just think it looks really interesting. Great to see. I've got a set on the way. I've got some samples of the curve-faced ones coming. I've got the original Origin raw finish coming in a variable length, as in a more conventional half-inch increments in between. So I'm really curious to see.
Day's on one length, are they?
No, Day was. So I asked Tom that. I said, "Is he?" I assume he's not one length. You could kind of tell that from the video, but I wondered whether he'd be in because the other one is combo length that Avoda do. So where they'd go kind of 4, 5, 6, maybe 7, stepping progressively, getting longer up to 4-iron, and then 8 down to your lob wedge, all the same length. They spoke about it, but Day's coach was like, I think it's probably going to be a step too far in terms of where he's come from and what he's been playing for so many years. So they've built those up in a sort of standard variable length setting. So, yeah, an interesting mutation of what Bryson plays in terms of first face curvature, with Jason's custom soles and head shapes ground to a slightly different shape and in variable length rather than one length. So I thought it was really interesting to see.
Yeah, good spot, and really cool to see that catching on with somebody else and it not just being kind of pigeonholed to Bryson, who, whenever he does something equipment-y, I look at that and go, that's him, that's that. This ain't going to catch on.
Yeah.
To see that break out into the quote-unquote mainstream with Jason Day is an interesting move. Will he have customed the amount of bulge and roll on the face, or is that set?
I believe.
Can you alter that slightly via the 3D printing they do?
Do you know what? I think obviously they can do whatever they want, but as far as I'm aware, he tested out, like I said, the little set they built him to test, which is what I'll have been looking at in the video. Yeah. That will have been the standard retail curvature. And Tom didn't make any mention that they changed the curvature.
It was more the head
shaping, more the soles and
okay,
and the holes. So yeah, fascinating. And I'm really that'll be coming up soon because the curved ones should be on the way. Might even be at home when I get back. So we'll talk about that in an upcoming episode for sure.
Absolutely good spot, Joseph. Right, a little explainer now. Hey, do you remember that? Do you remember the explainer? Day oneers will remember the explainer. When we explain things, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very straightforward, actually, here at Kickpoint, the Golf Gear Show. And you, Joe, want to talk about lie angle. And I can't remember what for now. What for and why? What sprung this in your brain?
Well, I saw a little Instagram post of a guy from Gears Sports. So Gears is basically a high precision 3D motion capture system, which you might have seen at the TaylorMade Fitting Centre at Wentworth. They use it where you're sticking little balls on people.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
3D image captures of their body. And I didn't realise they did that for clubs as well, really. So they're putting the balls on the clubs and seeing how the club head reacting and measuring shafts through that and so on and so forth. And yeah, the guy, through their research, they found something interesting about lie angles, which is something I thought, if you haven't seen it, would be worth passing on. And it might mean that we've been doing lie angles wrong.
Oh no, I hate it when you've uncovered some sort of conspiracy.
I haven't uncovered it, I'm just passing it on. We might have been doing lie angles wrong forever.
Okay.
Let me get
Okay, I'm sat.
You got a club I can borrow anywhere near you?
There's one there.
All right, keep talking for a sec.
So,
great work, Dan.
do you come here often?
So, it's to do with shaft droop. So we know about lie angles. So if I go down this, straight down the lens of my camera, so when that's sold out flat in front of me, we ideally, if you're looking for a neutral ball flight, if you're looking for the loft to perform as it should on the club, you want that club soling out as close to horizontal as perfectly possible. Because as we know, if we have the toe pointing up, the loft, even if the face is square, the loft will be pointing off to the left and vice versa. If the toe's down, the loft will be pointing off to the right, even if the club face is square. But that's assuming everything's constant within the shaft. We've got different length shafts. So what this guy from Gears is suggesting is that the longer the shaft, we know shaft bends this way.
Yeah.
So for the audio, for the people listening, the toe droops down. It's called shaft droop. So not only do we get lead deflection. Well, sorry about the production.
We had a giggle from the production. Good.
So not only do we get lead deflection where the shaft bends forward and potentially adds loft through impact, the toe actually droops down. And the longer the shaft, the more droop you get. Happy with that one, guys? So what we're suggesting is, in theory, if you're in a 3-iron shaft of the same flex as your pitching wedge shaft, you're going to get, that shaft is going to see more shaft droop than the pitching wedge shaft would. And when you see more shaft droop, the toe is going to get lower. As such, it's going to be playing a flatter dynamic lie angle. So the loft on the face of your 3-iron might be pointing further right, or 4-iron or 5-iron, whatever, than the pitching wedge. And that's
interesting thought.
That's actually a practice. I don't even think it's a thought. It's something they've measured and they've seen it and they've again repeated it. Again, they've got their receipts. We keep talking about receipts, but this is...
bring these receipts, otherwise people will start pointing fingers.
Yeah, this isn't conjecture. This is something that they've done. And all the tour pros that they've brought this into have reported the same thing. And you might have seen this. And I saw it all the time in fittings. A lot of people, right-handed players, miss their longer irons a lot further right than they miss their shorter irons. You see a lot of people with over-the-top moves, and even if people are quite neutral, the ball often you'd see a much further left dispersion pattern in shorter irons, and it would almost just gradually, as you go up the set, work its way
Just
further,
inch its way right.
further to the right, almost exclusively.
And then people maybe feel, I certainly feel this, that with my long irons, I've then got to, because it's got this lefty left bias.
Yeah.
Smother over it.
Correct.
To stop it from squeezing out.
And
left.
my previous explanation for that before was, you do see a lot of people out to in, and when you've got more loft in your hand, because of the phenomenon we talked about with spin before, the ball flight would always be straighter with pitching wedge. So it would start left because of the over top move and wouldn't have the chance to curve back like it does with a 4-iron or a 5-iron, etc. That would be my explanation in my head previously. But it feels like they're onto something here, whereas people might be putting the same swings on these things, but the loft, because of the shaft group, is pointing 2 degrees further to the right than it would be with the pitching wedge. And what they're suggesting is what we've done with lie angles before is just half-degree increments. So you'd get your, your pitching wedge would be at 64 degrees, 9-iron might stay 64, then you go 8 at 63.5, 7 at 63, 6 at 6, half-degree increments all the way up to blend in with the extra shaft length. What they're suggesting is you might be better off having one standard constant lie angle.
All the way through.
So if you fitted in a 7-iron for a 62 degree lie angle, you'd want to be 62 in everything because it's going to play a little bit flatter in your shorter irons.
Yeah.
It's going to look a little bit flatter, but it will play more upright because there's going to be less shaft droop. But in the longer irons, you're going to get that shaft droop, which is going to flatten out the lie angle. So you need the extra more upright than you ordinarily would. And they're saying everyone they've tried it with, it's worked on, and they're not. It's not something they can make money on here, so it's not like they're just putting that out there because we've manufactured lie angles.
Yeah, they don't own lie angles, do they? It's just it's in the public's interest.
They've spoken to a few people. Lee Trevino said, "Yeah, that's what I always did. Just had one lie angle. Just always played my wedges a lot flatter and my longer irons more upright." He said, "I think it worked out to about the same lie angle throughout." A friend of mine who's always tinkering with his own gear, again, keeps getting flatter and flatter in his shorter irons, more upright in his longer irons. And he's probably inadvertently created the same thing. And it's, again, something I'm going to test because...
Give it a go. I'd love to hear what you think about that.
That makes perfect sense to me. And it feels like we could have been doing it wrong for absolutely years.
Do you think that might affect the way the club looks dramatically for you, though? Because...
I'm having trouble with my phone.
Your phone just falling out.
Just dropped out of my pocket as well as running.
Do you think that's going to affect the way it looks, though, for you? Do you think that might bother you, not having them as they currently normally sit?
I like an upright look, as you know, but more so, I like that in longer clubs. So the shorter irons, I think, wouldn't bother me.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see. And I do see a lot of, like, Richard Mansell, if he ever listens to this app, will be thrilled because when he picks my wedges up every time we play, he goes, "Oh, God, these are hideous," because he plays his a couple of degrees flat and mine are like 3 to 4 upright.
Going to go over his left
and it looks
shoulder.
like they're going to go over his left shoulder. So he he's like, "These are disgusting."
So the shorter irons, the wedges, 9s, 8s, will look more flat than normal, and the other ones will look, the longer irons look more upright.
Correct.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
So
we'll give it a go and let us know.
Yeah, I'm going to get a set and get on that and measure dispersion. I think that'd be a good vid.
Fun. Well,
told you it was more interesting.
That was actually really interesting. Hope you've all learned a little nugget there, and we'll, as we always do here, continue to scratch away at the equipment surface. Quite good, isn't it? Right then, Ria, it's time. It's time for Ask the Pod. Good, very good, very good. Come on, let's give this a big one.
Okay,
get off Slack.
Just checking my messages. Ask the Pod. Ask the Pod. Ask the Pod. Ask the Pod. Best ever, I think.
Best ever.
Well
right.
done you.
I've got to find a hole-in-one message that I don't know where it is. So do you want to talk about...
I could read out Katie King's Slack message if you want. She's out of office for the rest of the day, just so you know.
Isn't that...
What am I doing? Filling?
That's an internal thing.
Get onto my one. Is this the one about...
Well, let's do your Ask the Pod, and while you're doing it, I'll find the lovely hole-in-one story we've got, because I want.
Yeah, we'll revisit that.
So this week's question comes in from Steve from Redditch, specifically plays at Blackwell Golf Club.
Near you, that.
Very near me, my neck of the woods, that Redditch. Hi, boys of the show. I've been channeling my inner Joe. That's a worrying thought. And decided...
Very handsome, have you?
Become unbearable to be around, I imagine.
Oh, good lord.
I've been channeling my inner Joe and decided I wanted to have a tinker around with a set of irons.
Good for you.
Not necessarily to play, just for a bit of a project and to see if I could do it. Do what?
Play around with his iron.
Sorry,
What
Steve.
do you mean do what? He specifically said that.
Anyone can play around with their irons.
Okay.
I'm in a giggly mood today.
Sorry, Steve.
I bought a set of old TaylorMade irons of eBay with Project X shafts and wanted to put some dynamic gold Taurus X100 shafts in there, as you mentioned them so much on the pod.
That is our favourite shaft, isn't
It's
it?
our favourite shaft.
What's in the bag?
Goat shaft. I had no problem getting the heads off with my blowtorch. Good for you, Steve. However, when I placed the heads on the new shafts, there's a lot of wobble. Not the same snug fit as when I placed them back on the Project X shafts. What is that? I removed them from. Sorry.
What is that? This is specifically what he's asking.
I'm curious.
So I'll tell you.
It's a good question. Is that what you're going to say now?
Yeah.
What have I done wrong? Or am I panicking about nothing? Help! Exclamation mark. Thank you, Steve. Channeling his inner Joe. Very worrying. So, switching shafts between different heads, but he's got wobble. Why? I'm going to guess here that they are tapered differently.
Very good, Dan. That's pretty much it.
But how do you fix it?
We've spoken about this before, haven't we? So, got taper tips and parallel tips. So, if you've got a taper tip, it's going to start thin at the bottom, and as it works its way up to the grip end, it's going to get gradually thicker. And the hosels of irons and wedges are manufactured to cater for a specific type. So, if you've got a hosel that was designed to fit a taper tip, you can. Obviously a taper tip will fit well in there, but you can actually get reaming pieces of drill bit that will remove some material and change the inner of the hosel to fit a taper tip shaft. So you can actually make a taper tip hosel into a parallel hosel by just reaming it out. But when you go in the other way, so he's pulled out, it sounds like, so he's pulled out his Project X from these heads. Most Project X shafts, I think you can get some taper tip ones, but most are parallel. So what sounds like has happened, he's pulled out a parallel shaft and now he's got a parallel hosel, but he's putting a taper tip shaft in. And there's a
bit of give.
Yeah. So here you go.
Sorry, I'm not being rude. I'm trying to find the whole in one story.
People, I think.
Yeah.
So I've got a taper tip shaft here. This is a parallel hosel. So if I pop that on there, can you hear this?
I can hear that.
There's a bit of play on that hosel. Feel that?
There's play.
So you can see it wobbling around. That's not in there tight. You happy with that?
Yes, move on.
I'm just proving it.
Showed it 3 times.
Right, so there's a number of ways. Well, there isn't. There's just a couple, really. You can either... I mean, some people don't actually factor this, or don't actually fix it. They'll just end up using more glue, maybe use some shafting beads, some sand to pack that out and kind of fill the void.
Give it a gap.
I don't love that. I just worry that if there's ever a breakdown in that epoxy, you're relying very, very much on that epoxy holding really well there, and there's not the snugness to give you the extra insurance. So if you don't want to go down that route, what you need is what I've got in front of me here.
Here's one I made earlier.
A little brass shim. So you get these from, I got mine from Adore Grips. So they're a component company in the UK. You can get them from all sorts of places online.
Show it to the camera and describe it with words.
It's on my finger at the moment. So it's a little brass, I don't know, how do you describe that with words? It's like a little umbrella.
It's like imagine a lampshade that a cat or a dog's had a little claw through.
And it's got strands of brass coming off it. So what you would do then is you would slip that over, you'd get some glue, and your first port of call would be slip that over the top of the hosel. Yeah. Or the top of the shaft, rather.
I see where this is going.
To sit like that. So that pads out the bottom tapered section now, and that would become parallel. You'd sometimes have to adjust these and snip some bits off at the top if it's too much. But once I pop that on and I pop the parallel shaft on there, I'm now wobbling it. So we've then got a perfectly tight, snug fit. So when you glue that, make sure you put some glue on first, because if you don't put the glue on, it's stuck in there now. If you don't put the glue on the shaft first, obviously that shim hasn't got anything to glue to.
So that thing's still rolling around.
Roll around. So procedure there, get some glue on the shaft, put the shim on. So the shim is essentially going to glue to the shaft. Then put some more glue on top of that and in the hosel. Glue them down, you've got a nice snug fit, and you've got your problem solved.
And also a much more reliable way, as you said, rather than kind of filling it with any old cack you can find around the place. You've got a specific.
There's a guy I saw actually on Instagram who I follow, Jeff Sheets, who was out on tour for years, club building. He's got some really fascinating content. I'd love to speak to him at some point. And he actually did a point and said, if you've got no shims, you can use some tape. You can actually just use a certain tape to pad it out. And I was thinking, tape? But as you said, by the time the epoxy goes on it and it hardens up, that tape isn't going to be moving anywhere. So if you're struggling, you can't get hold of shims, it's not something I've tried, but go and have a look at Jeff Sheets on Instagram, and he has a really good demonstration about how to do that if you can't get hold of some shims. Well, I can't think why you wouldn't. I think that cost me about...
There's not a national shim shortage.
Don't believe so. And I think it was about 20 pence this one cost me. So, yeah. So basically, you're not panicking about nothing. That's an actual thing. If you'd have glued them on as was, there's a very good chance that epoxy would have failed and the heads would have gone flying off. So, right to ask the question, look into shims, pad that out and be careful. And again, if you're playing around with any clubs, you can find all these shaft manufacturers' specifications. So go on to the Project X website and they'll tell you whether it's parallel or tapered, etc., etc. You can get measuring devices if you want to do that yourself as well. But yeah, you can find all that stuff out. So yeah, get some shims and stay safe.
I fear this might be a really daft question.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this already.
What about the other way around? What if you're taking a... What if it's a...
If anyone listening understands, I've already answered this question in the first part of the answer there when Dan was scrolling his phone.
Oh. So no, don't, because they've already heard it. I don't want to waste their time.
No, let's go back into it. So we've taken the taper tip out. You've got a Project X you want to go in there. It's not fitting now, yeah, because there's not enough room.
There's not enough room.
Yeah. So we get special drill bits, ream it out, can make that parallel hosel into a taper.
Ream it out.
Make that taper into parallel.
I perked it when you said the word ream, because it reminded me of
Joey Essex.
Very
good.
And we've had Ream and Jeff Sheets.
Yeah.
A Ream Sheets.
There you go.
Hey, don't say we don't plan this stuff. Thank you for all those correspondence. Keep them coming. We do love hearing from people, don't we, Joe?
Yes, we do.
And there are many ways you can get in touch. Kickpointpodcast@futurenet.com, Instagram, and a new webpage on the Golf Winter website that isn't ready enough yet. But it's going to be a space where people can talk to each other. You don't know about this.
Okay.
People can comment and put questions up there, and you can all talk to each other if you'd like.
Why am I never invited to these meetings where important structural stuff comes up?
We don't trust you.
Fair enough. Roger that.
Speaking of Robert, damn. Speaking of Roger Rock's coming on.
Robert Rock's dad is coming to tell us all about.
So Joe hot stepped it up to Little Aston Golf Club, a gorgeous golf club just north-east of Birmingham, to go and see your friend, Robert Rock.
Sorry, going straight into it. You want me to talk about it?
I'd like to talk about it. Set it up.
Brilliant. So primarily it was Rob's involved in a training aid company with a friend of his, Liam Bond, TRS Golf.
I've seen you using their balls.
Yeah, I've been using that to make my incredible swing change. Should we pop that up? Actually, we haven't spoken about that.
Do you want to? Okay.
B-roll. I'm going to send it in. Look at my before. Look at my after. I've been working on my horrible left arm position. I'm really excited about the progress.
Describe it for the listeners.
So I've had a horrible bent left arm at the top for years. I always thought it was a left arm problem. The guy I've seen coaching, Alex Clapp, said, no, it's your right arm's over bending, which is causing your left arm to bend. And I've been using that bend as my hinge. I've not been hinging my wrist properly. So you've got me popping a little, like having a water band on at the swimming pool for kids. So I put the TRS ball on my right bicep, and every time my right forearm gets to touch it, I can stop moving that. So I can stop bending. So it doesn't overbend.
Yeah.
So my left arm stays straight. That's reintroduced some hinge. Just look at the results. I'm so excited. I'm in that excited phase of anything is possible again now. Watch this space.
Wow. Well, that's fascinating.
But anyway, Robert Rock. Yeah, so that's the training aid company he's involved with. He's got specifically one he invented himself, which they talk about here, maybe. I can't remember if it was in this video or another one, because we filmed so much on the day, where he ordered seatbelts off eBay.
Like car seatbelts?
Seatbelts, yeah, and hooks and clips and all sorts of stuff, because he wanted something to help him with the function of his right arm. He'd seen methods where that you keep a glove under your arm and try and pin it, or ropes that you tie yourself in, but there wasn't enough play with right arm. It ends up a bit gammy and really struggling to move well. So he created what he called the slider. So your right arm goes through a loop. It can work backwards a little bit and retract into a nice position without getting away from you. So he wanted to film some stuff on that, so we helped him out with that. So he would help us out with a few YouTube videos. We've done a great practice session, sat down and talked. I wasn't going to do the equipment one until we just were chatting through various things. I was like, this guy loves some gear stuff. Let's get on this. We just sat down in his little studio with his cool little bag of clubs, old stuff, new stuff. Got into, well, you'll see it in a minute. It was a fascinating thing, and he's just cool, isn't he? I think, haven't we scheduled to go over this a bit later in another pod as well?
Yeah, I think we might be talking about it. So let's let the folk watch.
Yeah, let's just let you get on. It's
this
really
is
good.
top shelf stuff, so do enjoy.
Right, everyone, we've got a very special treat today. We've got one of the most, I don't know how to describe you, Rob. You're one of the most talked about European Tour professionals because of your golf swing, because of your hair, because of everything that you've achieved, being the Tiger Slayer. We've got loads. And you very kindly said we can have a little look through the bag and go with what you're playing. And you'll talk me through equipment-wise how you are, because we've had a few chats before about your sort of views on equipment and things like that. Would you consider yourself like a sort of a gear nerd? Do you like to get involved? How heavily involved in the equipment were you?
I've pretty much, for the last 15 years, I've been really, really careful with my clubs. I measure them, loft and lie them, grip them, swing weight them. Pretty much done them all.
Where do you do all that? You got that?
Do it at home. Yeah, do it at home. Thankfully, I had an idea ages ago just to copy some of the equipment measuring devices they had on the tour trucks. So there is some common ground, like there's golf instruments and whatever else, and they're all using the same bits on the truck. So I thought it's no harm for me to have one of that at home, just to double check and triple check that the clubs are as they're supposed to be before I go and play.
So just for those listening, the golf instruments machine that Rob's talking about there, is they refer to it on tour, I think, as the Dela Cruz machine. So it's basically can measure exact loft and lie angles of drivers, fairways, hybrids, everything, rather than most of the time a lot of people would have seen loft and lie wise would just be irons and wedges, right? So you've got this can give you exact loft and lie
numbers measured to half a degree, but it's the sort of measurement needle is such that you can probably see a quarter of it.
Yeah, where it's leaning to on that line, right, once you get good at that.
And what I was amazed at in the end is that I could, not maybe quite as sharp as that now, but I could see half a degree. Didn't think that was possible.
Down by the ball?
Could see it when I was setting up to it,
okay.
yeah, in loft and lie.
Interesting.
Yeah, amazing, isn't it? But you're staring at that all day, looking at the same piece of metal all day, you end up knowing what it should look like.
But a lot of people wouldn't then be able to go home and quantify that. So fair play to you for taking that step of going, I remember you don't have to name names or anything like that, but I remember earlier you were chatting about a tour player you've been working with from a coaching point of view, who you've encouraged to do the same thing, who had an error in terms of...
I've encouraged almost every tour pro I've worked with to do it. I don't think one has yet.
Well, it's not cheap, right?
It's not cheap, and it's too easy to get it done, but the lads on the tour trucks are so busy, and they've got 150 players like wanting loads of stuff done, and it's time consuming doing things really, really carefully, and they're my tools.
Yeah.
Right? They're not theirs, they're mine, right? That's what I'm making my money with. So it's my job to make sure they're right.
Do you know what? I had a rant on the podcast not that long ago about all the people. I must have done 50 what's in the bags with players over the last couple of years, and without calling people out, there is almost a kind of a linear match-up between the people that take masses of care and interest in the tools that you're talking about that make the money and kind of where they are in the rankings. Think of like Tiger knew everything about his loft and
about
lies.
these irons as well. He
specifically, we'll get
designed
onto
them,
that.
didn't he? Yeah, I'm not that good, but
well, we could get there. We could have a Robert Rock line of irons, but also
Yeah.
he'd have like a different amount of layers of tape under his driver shaft than he would under his irons because of the different butt diameters. He was that in tune. Nicholas was the same with grinds. Scheffler can take 30 grips to get his get the rib lined up to where he wants.
Because I knew a load of pros that were so fussy about having the grip feel right and have the layers of tape right and the alignment of it right, but didn't worry about the other end.
In terms of?
I didn't check the other end.
Oh, I see, yeah.
You know what I mean? It needed to feel right in the hands, and maybe the weight was right, but the details at the other end
could be a degree and a half out.
Were left to somebody else, yeah, and that doesn't make much sense, does it?
Interesting. Well, let's get stuck into driver. You got an older model here, and you were saying again, just before we were talking about, you reckon you've got two good heads, as you called it, that you could work between, and if you were looking to change, spoiler alert, this is an old Callaway Epic Speed that's been in the bag for how long?
5 years.
Okay.
Probably, yeah, 5 years.
And you were saying that if you did want to change at this stage, I said, well, have you done any testing? You said, well, if I needed to, I'd need to have someone here with X amount of shafts, 10 dozen different heads, and you don't have the physical capacity to do that, right?
Yeah, I need to hit a lot of balls, and hitting a lot of balls with drivers hurts a little bit now. So what I know with that head, if I can try and remember the details, I haven't written down at home, but it's a 184 gram head, including the 10 grams at the back.
Okay.
That's what gives me the feel that it's the right weight set up to make it the right swing weight at that length.
And the 10 grams at the back, you're talking about this lead strip. There's no hot
And
melt
no,
or
with that and that.
with the weight in the back.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And how did you stumble across that? Just trial and error?
First of all, it was trial and error with one that was working. I thought I've got to know more about this club so I can duplicate it if I have to.
Okay.
So that was the reason being, and try and find. So I weigh the head, find out where the weight relationship is, what's giving me the shape that I want, what lie is it, most importantly, lie and loft.
Okay, and we're in Mitsubishi Tensai Blue, the CK Series 60TX. Do you know length?
Length is that length.
Yeah, it's that length. I can tell you, it's definitely a little bit shorter than like a 45 and a half inch.
I think it's just a touch over 45.
Okay, cool.
Right, it's a nudge over.
And you're in the Golf Pride Align Max multi-compounds standard. Any special layering under there or any requirement?
Just straight on paper tape.
Okay.
Not the sort of plastic, sort of see-through double side. It's slightly thicker in it.
Yeah, it is slightly thicker. And you like the rib to be dead square, because a lot of people like that slightly
I like
one way
it
or the
dead
other.
straight, but very, very, if anything, like possibly a degree or two slightly to the right.
Okay, cool.
If it's going to be anywhere.
Yeah, okay, cool.
I'm actually, while we're on that, I'm halfway through.
Oh, Rob's out of shot, everyone.
Sorry.
He's coming back in.
I'm halfway through getting there with that.
Okay, so we've got an Elite Triple Diamond here, 9
Just in
degree.
case I can't get any more of these, that will be probably my next venture.
Okay, so when you say, oh, go on, this is fascinating then. So you're not just flicking into a driver. This is a work in progress. You're halfway through getting it to a stage
Yeah,
where
so
you
it feels like it gives me what I get from that.
Okay, so where's halfway through then? So we're happy with head weight, we're happy with face angle, we're happy with loft. What are you testing out now?
Shaft's not right. I basically need to get another one of these shafts or a few similar, because that's a 50 and this is a 60. But the head feels pretty good, and I've put it on that and it's sort of all right.
So if that's not a lesson to everyone out there, that you've got to be careful with changing equipment. This is how long have you been going at this to get halfway through the process?
I reckon they sent me that 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah, there you go. So that tells you everything you need to know. Cool, fascinating.
But it's a nice looking club, that. I actually like
Yeah, it
the
is.
look
I'll
of the head.
stick
So yeah,
I'll stick that in the boot and you can start your process again. Right, where are we? We are into now.
this is a new experiment.
Okay, so we've got a TaylorMade 300 Mini, 11.5 degrees. Couldn't tell you what it's... Oh, I can. It's on the upright side of the sleeve. Yeah. One little nudge towards higher. And it's, the 300 Mini series. We've got an old Fujikura Pro 63 in there, Torspec X Flex. We've got an Align multi-compound again.
Grip's on a bit sideways.
Grip is on a little bit.
I haven't settled on the hosel position yet, so I'm just hitting that because I've noticed a lot of pros putting these mini drivers in play instead of 3 woods.
So why have you come up with this one then? Because this is about 4 generations old. Is this just one you had?
I had that. I bought that off eBay. I was just curious about the mini driver when it first came out, and I was thinking I might just play socially with just a smaller driver just for a bit more fun.
Stick that in your little Sunday bag.
In a little bag, yeah. It was that sort of idea, but I didn't end up doing it, and I just kept it. And then a couple of weeks ago, having played a few Clutch Pros and watched a bit of golf on TV, they're all hitting a lot of mini drivers, aren't they?
There's a lot out there, yeah, indeed. What do you see it as? Do you see it as kind of a backup driver or an alternative 3-wood?
I see it as a teeing off 3-wood.
Strong 3-wood for the tee.
That's all I've seen the guys using it for. Now my 3-wood I love, so it's going to take a bit of shifting out of.
And we love this because it is a Ping G425 Max, 14.5 degrees on the small minus setting, so a little bit stronger. Got the original Ventus Blue 7X. I won't keep talking about grips because you're in a line all the way through. What do you love about this then?
It's just dead
It was a lovely little wear mark, right?
Dead easy to strike,
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Yeah. I hated 3-woods for a long time. I used to have 3-woods with steel shafts in, all sorts, just to try and get one that felt that the point of having a 3-wood sometimes is to have it as a backup off the tee where you don't necessarily need to hit driver, but you've got to be more confident of hitting the fairway with it, otherwise it's pointless.
And you get a lot of people that aren't, are you? 'Cause
Yeah,
it's quite a volatile...
I wasn't, so
Yeah.
I'll be hitting 3-wood off the tee, losing 20, 30 yards and not being sure it's going to hit the fairway, so I wouldn't do it. So I'd hit drivers more often than I should, because I didn't have the one. Using an iron off the tee would sacrifice too much. You need something that just finishes short of a 280 bunker, but it's got to be in the fairway. And I didn't have that, but that has been awesome. And I've been way better. I used to top 3-wood shots quite a bit.
Really?
Yeah. If I didn't get if you put a too light a shaft in that, I will top it.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know the proper reason for that, but if that had a 50 or 60 gram in, I would hit it lower in the face.
Interesting. This was a really popular model on tour because the ping, they've gone a little bit deeper, but it's quite a shallow face, isn't it? Which when you sit it behind the ball, it looks like you've got no problem getting it up in the air.
Yeah, I hit that. I won't get rid of that until that breaks.
Okay, let's keep that one in. Then we go interesting down into the rest of the bag. So we've got a little bit of a combo set going on here.
3 irons new because my latest 3 iron broke.
Okay.
So I had a 18 degree, what was it called? The utility version with the other badge in the back.
Yeah.
And this shaft, well, the other shaft gave way here.
Okay. Same model.
Same shaft, gave way. So I got a new one, new shaft, put it in the head, didn't feel right.
Okay.
It didn't work the same. So then Callaway kindly sent me the Apex Pro 3 iron, and then I put this shaft into it, and it felt great.
When you say you put that shaft into it, you put it
No,
in?
I did it, yeah.
So you do all your
So
stuff.
they sent me this with the same shaft as the 4 iron, the Nippon. Felt a bit clumsy and heavy, so I put the what's that one called? I forget what it's called.
Well, it's a special, like it's still a bit of a prototype, but I think this is very much the same shaft that Scheffler uses in his 3 and 4 iron. So he's got Strix on 3. So it's a Nippon, it's an NS Pro Modus, but it's kind of a blend between, it says in here, graphite on steel technology. So it's it's almost like the Aerotech steel fibre, where you've got some graphite and steel within it, so you're getting some of the weight benefits of graphite, but still the stability.
Yeah, I'd wore through the graphite bit. It cracked, but I thought there's steel underneath it, so I'll see how long it lasts. And I think it lasted for about 6 months, and then one day it just caved.
And that's not a knock on Nippon. If you've watched any of the other videos with Rob that we've done talking about how much he practices and how many balls he hits, that's a Rob.
Oh no, it was a brilliant club. 2 iron was a brilliant club, absolutely brilliant, and that shaft is excellent, which is why I put it back in that.
Cool. So then after that we go into an older Apex Pro, I think, is it?
Yeah, older Apex Pro.
It's difficult to see the models. You've got a lot of lead tape knocking about on yours.
That's me bodging the swing weights.
Okay, cool.
Right, you should really, well, the guys would do them properly with the weights in the hosels, but I haven't got all of that kit and all the precise amounts.
On that though, I don't love that sometimes. When you start going with tip weights in the hosel, you start moving CG quite close to heel. So what you've done there is you've centered the weight that you want.
I've always done that, and that doesn't bother me. So I'll just it's generally not far off, because all my irons are the same loft line length for the last 20 years. So just occasionally the head weights are slightly different. I have to put a little bit on, but it's generally not much. It gets me to the right D1.5 swing weight that I'm after on my machine.
On your machine, which again is key, because a lot of these machines can be calibrated slightly differently, aren't they? So do your stuff on the same machine would be another one.
Yep.
Then we're into the real players' bats. So these P7TWs. So you are what, 6 to 9?
6 to 9. I did have 6 to wedge, but the wedge wasn't my favourite, to be fair.
Okay.
So I changed the wedge to a Vokey, but 6 to...
So how did you end up in these? Why do you love them? These wear marks are really upsetting me, how central these are. Oh, Rob.
I used to have a longer blade length Callaway X Forged iron, which was my favourite iron, which I played the best golf with. I wore through...
You must love them knocking around, because I've seen those in your bag, I think, maybe the last time I saw you.
I've still got some here, actually.
Okay.
I've got 2 sets, but I've run out of 6 irons.
Because that's your practice club, is it?
It was my practice club until I did some stats on my own, tracked a season worth of approach shots, and realised I was hitting twice as many 7 irons into greens as I was 6s.
So you switched it?
So I switched to 7 iron practice, which was a bit enlightening.
Feels like a smart move.
It was a smart move. I was wasting my time a little bit. So I wore through 6 irons, but there was a longer blade length, and I tried loads of different irons to replace, and I would hit them out the toe. And certainly blades as a rule are shorter.
Yeah.
So Tiger kindly made these ones.
Good of him.
It was good of him, yeah. and they're slightly longer, and they've got the multi-groove which my Callaway's had on, so they fitted in perfect.
That's what I always notice about these whenever I've tried these, and we talk about iron testing and we test in bays and dry and blah blah blah. If you get these out, like there's an old Nike VR blade that had the same groove pattern, and the amount of grooves, so there's far more grooves on these than there is on, say, the P7 CB from TaylorMade. I can't remember the numbers. And I just noticed when it's wet, when I'm in the rough, just don't get flyers out of these, which I think is really cool.
These are great, absolutely great clubs. And
any spare sets?
I have got 2 sets.
Okay.
This set and another set.
Ready to run.
I've got lots of 3, 4 and 5 irons in these sets that don't have any wear marks on them.
Yes.
Probably unlikely to get used again, those ones.
Okay.
These ones are too easy to hit.
Right, okay. Cool, perfect. Into wedges then, so you're as you said, is it more out of the choice that you just didn't like the look of the pitching wedge in this set, or have you always liked a specialist kind of Vokey pitching wedge?
No, I nearly always had the iron set wedge.
Yeah.
And there was something about the TaylorMade wedge. I was hitting it in the right sort of spot, but it didn't feel like my favourite sort of club, and I was hitting better approach shots with my 52. So I thought, well, actually last Dunhill Links last year I could put this in.
So this, for everyone's reference, is an SM10 46 degree F grind 10F.
I had a whole new set of wedges actually at the Dunhill last year.
Okay.
And it was my best wedge performance I think ever in a tournament. Forget the number of, I did count them all up afterwards, so I thought that was abnormal. I made the cut. Making the cut actually at Dunhill was quite hard, especially if I hadn't played any tournaments. So last year I only played Pinehurst, Belfry and Dunhill. And I only made the cut at the Dunhill because my wedge play was really good.
Okay.
I hit 8 wedge shots to tap-ins.
Wow.
Which makes a world of difference because my putting's not great.
Well.
And I literally hit 8 to tap-ins.
Well, that's very beneficial, isn't it? One thing I've noticed on your wedges here, so you change grip slightly, so you're still feeling it. I can feel the rib, so it's a ribbed Golf Pride Tour Velvet, but it's not the Align. No. Is there any reason for that, or is that just how they sent them to you?
No, it's just what I've normally had on my wedges, and to be honest, I haven't bothered changing them.
Okay, cool. So there's no other reason that?
Just no other reason, just to keep the same sort of feel, yeah.
Have you always had the same loft set up? So we've got 46 here, then we've got 52, 56, 60. Are they at what it says on the bottom, or...?
52 is 51, 46 is 45 and a half, 56 is 56, and 60 is 60. I used to have 52 and then 58, but my short game was relatively poor. Thomas Bjorn taught me into putting a 60 in.
Adding options.
Because I couldn't play the high softed little chip or the spinny pitch very well. He basically showed me how to do it, and he said, "Got to have a 60." So he's good at that. So
he is good at that, isn't he? Okay, so that's the wedges. Now we're into a much older model in your putter. So how long has this been with you? So this is an Odyssey Black Series 1 white hot insert. We've got Pure Grips, kind of paddle style grip on there. How long have you had this? What do you like about it?
So I had that putter is a duplicate of the one that I won both my tournaments with. And it's been sitting in the loft for ages as a backup to the original one, thinking I would eventually want it. But I shifted off the original one and started using all sorts of different putters. What have I used since? Mixture of the blades, other like actual proper blades, and then something like that.
Does that throw you off? Because blades in my head were always Wilson 8802s, that's an answer style to me in my head.
Yeah, blades are different putter, but these are called blades now.
Yeah.
Tried a load of other putters and then actually found that one out. Thought let's give that another whirl. It's been alright.
Cool.
Who knows how long that will last for?
So that's an area game that you do tinker around with sometimes.
I've tried, you suggested mallets earlier, and there's a lot of evidence to suggest that mallets are better. I haven't found a mallet with a line on the top that I like.
Okay.
That line on the top of a mallet always puts me off. I'm not as good with short putts with a mallet as I am with that.
I'm going to put you in touch with Sam Han at Lab later, who you can design your own exactly how you want it, alignment aid, and they will print it for you. I think you should have a look at that personally.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we're on.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Ball wise, what do you play?
Well, always Titleist Pro V. I was on the 13 model for a long time.
Rather than the X?
Shifted from the X to whatever that one is now.
This one's from Warpleston.
That's not that one. Oh, it's the wrong pocket.
Oh, back pocket.
Yeah.
That's your provisional pocket,
That's
was
my
it?
provisional, yeah.
Okay.
I've found them lately.
Okay, so we've got the Rubber Rock Junior Tour logo on here.
Yeah, Titleist have kindly
Pro V.
given us plenty of Pro V ones to give not to give them, for the kids to win, which is a nice prize. No, can't never have too much Pro V ones, can you?
Can never have too many Pro V1s, and I was going to say training aids, but I know you are into your training aids, so you've got the TRS slider that you've developed with a friend of yours, Liam Bond, who owns the TRS company.
Yep.
Assume you use that fairly regularly, the slider?
Yep, I made that originally at home just to work on my own swing, just pottering around, videoing, trying to help me achieve something, and then let a few of the pros that I was working with try it. Ollie Wilson tried it for a good few months, and I figured it was durable, and Ollie practices a lot. Okay. Yeah, it was giving it a good test, didn't break. So
for those, in case you didn't see the other video we've done with Rob actually went on eBay and ordered seatbelt material and clips for your prototypes, and we're just knocking it up yourself, right? Yeah. And this is the amalgamation
so
of that.
This is the proper version that Liam Bond has kindly had made, which should last better than my version. This is all stitched together as it should be.
It's a thorough man.
I was super gluing the Velcro to the seatbelt and then super gluing the joins of that, and it did work. But
I was going to say, you've got to start somewhere, right?
Got to start somewhere, yeah.
Of it.
And then we end up with this, and this has been really good. So that has born out of my practice and out of trying to make my practice more efficient, which it did do. And you got the ball for keeping your forearm sort of structured tight and making your arms fold properly.
Cool.
Alignment still, well, the TR stick for the
always compression of strike and keeping your eye on your path and stuff like that, isn't it? So yeah, great selection there. Well, that's fascinating. That's a really interesting look into a very sort of eclectic bag of stuff going on. Fascinating to hear how important you think looking after your own equipment is and knowing your tools. I think that's a great lesson for everyone there. The other gems about making sure you're using the same tape, making sure you're using the same loft and lie machines because of different calibrations. There's plenty of stuff in there to take away, and that's a fascinating look. A fascinating bag. Right, I was going to wrap it up there, but Rob's kindly pointed out that I should have mentioned a couple of other things. You're absolutely right. This needs its own section. So this is the final boss of alignment sticks for the gear pervs. This isn't just any old piece of plastic. This is your graphite design Tour AD UB alignment stick with accuracy and distance emblazoned on there.
Special accuracy and distance with that.
How'd you come across an alignment stick like this?
That was a nice gift from the guys at Graphite Design at Pinehurst.
At US Open?
Yeah. I think
they only gave you one?
Only give me one, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, obviously saw that I'd just qualified.
Come on, Graphite Design, if Rob needs a spare one. So
I need two. I had to couple that with an orange one earlier. Didn't look as good, did it?
Didn't look as cool. So we need a couple more of these. Little Aston Golf Club, FAO, Robert Rock. Yeah. You've got some of the cooler head covers I've ever seen here. These feel like a dream. Talk me through these.
So I've got a Little Aston Lynx and Kings head cover, which is beautiful. And then I've got two these are very, very good head covers from Asprey.
Okay.
I played an event at Wentworth, and these were donated by Asprey to all the participants.
These are dreamy, aren't they? These feel this like some of the softest leather.
Tiny little Asprey logo on the bottom, which you can barely see, but they are.
Couple of quid these, Rob?
I think they're touching 400 a piece.
Is that why you were sprinting down the fairway when we played the other day?
I'm not dropping any of these. I need some of those like rope to tie them all together.
Yeah. We could do the same for your tees in the winter. So your tees
more than my woods.
They probably are, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, yeah.
There's a sad irony to that. Well, that is a fascinating look into a fascinating and eclectic bag. Thank you very much for spending some time with us, Rob. Much appreciated. Cheers, pal.
Cheers.
Well done, Joe, and thank you, Mr. Rock, for joining us. Bit of a legend of the game, really, isn't he? And that was top shelf stuff, actually. That would be behind some sort of cover nowadays.
It should be, yeah. It was really detailed. And again, I alluded to it in another app. Just really interesting to see how committed he is to his craft, and like he will, even at this stage where he's not necessarily competing, he's still so engaged in his equipment and making sure it's right. I was just super impressed with a lot about Robert that day.
One thing I want to say about training aids, because my dad was like, "Oh, I've seen that TRS stuff. Oh, I want to give that a go." I'm like, "That's not your fault, isn't? Don't just get a training aid because you like the look of it. Make sure it's solving a very specific problem and a problem that repeats in your game. You know, when everyone falls back into something, if you fall back into something, get it. Don't just go buying training aids you don't need.
And
Not,
a problem.
you know what I mean?
Make sure it's a problem that's been diagnosed by someone who knows what they're talking about. Not your pal that says you do this.
Bit of a chicken wing.
Or something you've seen once on camera that bothered you. Like, make sure you go and see someone who knows what they're talking about to establish it's a functional problem, because you could just be buying a training aid that's going to exacerbate things or create a whole new set of problems. But for me, that TRS ball with my fault at the moment,
perfect.
Absolutely spot on.
Well, we look
really
forward
excited.
to your new swing and you playing some great golf again, as we always do, because we've got some fun plans next year to try and utilise that. So no pressure. But that's about it for this week. Coming up next week, Harry Hall's joining us. Sam's been at Wentworth again, busy boy, interviewing Harry Hall for his What's in the Bag. I want to talk about driving ranges and how they're annoying me at the minute. We're going to talk GC3 launch monitors, how to use them most effectively, and your experience with them over the last few weeks, and a great Ask the Pod once again. It's a good episode, Joe. But thanks for this week, buddy.
Was Rhea laughing? Was I pulling a funny face? Oh, Rhea's laughing at me. One thing I wanted to bring up is we are looking.
I'm quite hungry.
Okay, well, just very briefly, it's just a plea to everyone. We're going to make some more YouTube content because people, you seem to enjoy What's in the Bag I did, us on course. So we've got a bit of time and budget to make this happen. So let us know in the comments of this video what you want to see us doing, because we've got a few ideas, but we want to make sure it's on the track of what you want to watch, right?
Ideally, if you could just do a What's in the Bag once a week, that would really roll the YouTube channel.
It would be fresh most weeks, in fairness. I don't often stay with the same gear.
We've got some fun ideas, some fun stuff. It's all because of your support, so thank you. So continue to watch, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your foes. And we're back next week for more of the same. Joe, thank you as always. Good work.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Thanks.
Goodbye.
Bye now.